What an honor. Scano, Sego, Ani. This is wonderful that everyone has shown up, and we have a special guest, Dennis Windigo, who happened to just, I think Spirit sent you the invite. I'm not gonna lie. I don't remember inviting you, but we would never ever not invite you. Let me tell you, this is a really wonderful gift because you'll be joining our community next week. So good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining our little short conversation with some of our favorite people in the community. If everyone could just take a minute and introduce themselves, that'd be great.
I'm Sherry Sayville. I live in Halton.
Come on, humble people.
Sure. Can you hear me? You can. Oh, great. My name is Daniel Ridsdale. I work for the Town of Oakville as a community development specialist. Very happy to be here. This is pretty cool, by the way.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tanya Dericio, and I am the Supervisor of Culture Programs at the Town of Oakville. I also was born and raised in Oakville, and I'm also a visual artist who practices here. So thank you for inviting me, and this is fun.
Hi, everybody. My name is Nabil Rahman. I'm a community development specialist at the Town of Oakville, and as obvious as is by looking at me, I'm also an aspiring model.
Hello, Dennis Windigo. I'm in Ottawa. I'm a psychotherapist, and that's about it. Thank you.
I love that. It's about it. It's about it.
It's about it.
Well,
we are so thrilled to even have all of you here to even just briefly speak about planting our seeds. And what a wonderful video that both Nabil and Daniel were in there, as Tanya and Jody and I. And it was just amazing to see what TV has become. Not only virtual, but then our host was outside having that interview. So we're so thrilled and honored that all of you could be here just to talk a little bit about why we came up with planting our seed and having that discussion. And we're so thrilled that we have Dennis here, and which is just truly just an honor that Dennis is here to be with us as well in spirit and in mind and in body. So it's wonderful. Jody?
Yes, and thank you everyone for joining us. This is we're really living in a place of gratitude right now. We have our elders around that are supporting everything that we're doing and the movement that's happening for Indigenous people. This is real. It's fun. It's become tangible for us, and how we're moving together in community is so important because this is the practice part of being in relationship. And having the ability to move forward in these spaces is great. Sherry, I'm just going to acknowledge that Sherry is just an amazing woman. I love her. I'm remembering her from, I feel like, another lifetime that we did this work together because it's just so easy. Everything we're doing is easy. What we're going to do right now, because I know Sherry has to step off to another very important meeting, is I'd like to share the video that was shared in community, I think, with Halton TV yesterday. I don't really watch television, so I'm getting enough of it from this streaming regularly. So what I'd like to do before Sherry steps off is to play this. If you missed it yesterday in community, I'm going to try and share it now.
Jody, we don't hear anything.
We'll try one more time. And, but if not, we can certainly put the link in the comment section and for you to go back and watch it. It was just a wonderful coming together of community members of, the reason why Daniel and had really brought this forward, that it's a time for learning. It's a time for planting our seeds. And so I don't know if you want to say anything about this, Danielle or Nabil. I'll pass it over to you.
We waited me out, Nabil. I was waiting to see your microphone unmute.
Please, Daniel, please go ahead.
Sure. So Nabil and I, working with the town, we traditionally, we operate programs through community development. So the goals of the programs we offer are to engage those who are not traditionally served by our mainstream program. So often that requires us to be intentional of what we do. So, often it can be free programs or programs targeted towards, different communities, different cultures. And what the pandemic has really forced us to do is take that initiative to virtual spaces. And we acknowledge that, we just weren't really doing anything that was specifically engaging folks in the dialogues of, like urban Indigenous affairs. We had set up to have a conversation online about just a community conversation about land acknowledgements. And it ended up being, our most viewed discussion, our most viewed virtual program that we shared online. So, from there we were like, well, we gotta do more about this. We gotta continue to engage the community around this. And our friend Angela from our kids network referred us to Jody and Sherry, because I believe at the time you guys were sort of building your capacity in this space, the virtual space. And that's when the suggestion kind of came in of, why don't you guys do something virtual together? And now we fortunately we are. So this Thursday we'll be going live at 6 p.m. You can register by just searching Oakville virtual programs, Oakville free virtual programs, planting our seeds. I've done some tests on Google and everything is, pointing folks in the right direction. So which is nice. We are accepting registration, but registration is not necessary. So you can just jump and join in the link if you're not too, I know Dennis mentioned, or someone mentioned that he's not too tech savvy. So all you got to do is click to open and you can 150 registrants in. So we expect a busy discussion. Nabil, did I miss anything?
No, I think you covered it. I think we're as excited as everybody else is to have the program, get it going, and I think it's really important to recognize that the structure of this program, the content is really coming from Jody and Sherry and grandmother's voice. The town is a conduit to be able to share that and disseminate that information, but we are learners. And I think, how often do you get to celebrate learning and be active learners? And I'm excited to learn and learn intentionally and kind of learn also with the good intention. So I'm kind of really looking forward to this. And I think everybody should tune in tomorrow at 6 p.m. and see the wonderful things that are going to take place.
So I've dropped, I don't know who can say, I've never been involved in something like this, Jody and Sherry, in terms of this stream, but I've put in a link into our chat. I don't know if that goes to anyone, but all you would have to do is basically visit that link and just hit join Zoom tomorrow, Thursday evenings at 6 p.m. So you just hit the link, click join Zoom, and if Zoom is installed on your computer, it should pop right up. The other thing worth noting is it's not just, planting our seeds is by far our most popular program, even though it hasn't even started. But every day we do other stuff as well. So, you're certainly invited to join our other free programs in terms of we're doing a cooking class tonight where we're looking how to make carrot cupcakes with rescued food. In about 5 minutes, I got to jump off because we're having a discussion about exploring art. Last week, we unpacked the band Pink Floyd. Yesterday we made crafts with little kids. Like there's always something going on. So if you're watching, definitely please join.
I love it. Plug away, Daniel.
Yeah,
Right? This is what being in community is all about, right? Being able to share each other's gifts and community, and it's about time to really engage everyone, and that's what this is about, right? This is about not just learning. This is about what the grandmothers say and the elders that we work with. The reality is we need to embody this. We need to remember this, because these are being in community, being in practice is really what this is all about. We all know what to do. We need to just do this with our heart. We just have to make sure, that we honor the, we'll just say rules that have been put in place for us to kind of keep us reined in, because I know for myself, I can get out there and get passionate. And the next thing you know, I have all these people having the same conversation with me and on my side, rah, rah. But I just, some of the stuff that we've talked about, or what is, I guess, what was shared in the media release, was treaties and information that I think is mainstream language to a lot of people, right? Because that's what you see in the media. This is the language that, people are hearing in education and in, I guess, the bureaucratic realm. And I think that really what we want to do is have those conversations and just break them down. What does it mean? They're labeled as treaties, but what does a treaty really mean? Because Indigenous people do not look at it as a treaty, right? That was probably a Western world, a word that was put into place. And so we really just want to engage the people because this is what it's about. And I think in Halton alone, I've been here for 30 years, I guess, well, not alone, with my family, but, knowing that there's so much culture about my ancestors here, and I really just want to know about it. And I think, Sherry, you talked about this in the video that I couldn't play. So Dennis, you're not alone. Okay. I can't wait till somebody can run my technology. But, you said it in there that, people might not feel comfortable coming forward about being Indigenous. And this is our reality. That is a reality for Indigenous people. So we're really hoping that this talk and the platform that you've offered to us, the town, which is, in a minute, I'll have Tanya maybe talk about some of the things that we've done in the past. And I say we, but Indigenous community, the initiatives that you've supported along the way have been amazing. But bringing back to that, we're not in a space where it's easy for Indigenous people to come forward, because there's no space for people to come forward in. But ever since we started to talk about, how do we do that, many Indigenous people in Halton have come forward and said, I've just been doing it myself. I've just been doing my research myself, connecting to culture by myself. And we know that the Creator didn't put us here to do things by ourselves. And so this is why I really love that you offered us this space to say, hey, let us amplify your voice. Let us join you. This is how we see reconciliation happening. And we're just really honored. And I feel like I'm going to cry, but Tanya, there's connections that you and I have had from the beginning, and what it is. What it is for me. I don't need to say it out there, but thank you so much for always supporting the work that we do. Missing and Murdered Indigenous Women and Girls on Wednesday, actually May 5th, we're having our living monument. It's our first living monument that we've created. We did our ceremony together at the museum now I'm getting emotional, in September, right, where we invited our community members to make change and to really, if we're going to do this, why are we not just doing it? And you've always been there with arms open, heart open to say, I want to do this. So thank you for everything that you do. And if you don't mind, talk a little bit more about the wonderful things. And Daniel, I know you have to pop off. So if you disappear, like the Ellen show, we know you're off doing amazing things somewhere else.
We'll see you guys tomorrow night.
Awesome.
Yes.
Bye.
See you tomorrow night too. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you,
Pleasure.
Jody, for those kind words. I first met Sherry. Actually, I first met Sherry, and then I met Jody through Sherry, working on a few different projects on behalf of the town with the Indigenous community. in Oakville. I am the supervisor of culture programs. So culture is a really wide, I see culture as a really wide, broad spectrum. It's not only fine arts and crafts, and but it's also other community groups that want to do things in our community, may not always know how to partner with the town. And so I always see my position as sort of in the middle to try to best assist in making the program happen here in Oakville. So yes, Jody, we worked on Murdered and Missing Indigenous Women and Girls, the Red Dress Project, and this past fall, we had a beautiful ceremony down at the Oakville Museum, which was very special. I've also worked on a project called the Moccasin Trail in Oakville. So these were two heritage trails along the 16 Mile Creek and Bronte Creek that were renamed the Moccasin Trails. And we have the Thanksgiving address that is stationed along that walk. And we run some guided trails throughout the year. We used to do this pre-COVID, in which it offers the community, the residents of Oakville to come and learn about the Thanksgiving address and other projects. So with Jody and the grandmothers, we worked on renaming some community rooms at Town Hall. So these are rooms that are free for community groups to use. And instead of having the sort of boring names of community room A, B, and C, Jody and the grandmothers came forward with some really beautiful names that were very thoughtful and considered to the location of the room, what happens in that room. And so I'm working with the team here at the town to put up text explanations so that staff who use those rooms or other community groups that may not know how this went about, there's a story for each room that recognizes that. So hopefully post-COVID, when we are assembling again with our various different groups, there will be that new plaque or that new information that comes with the room. And also the language, which was really important for us to put on these rooms, and that the names are very specific to the rooms with phonetic spelling and interpretation, so that people can start to use these names in their everyday association with events that happen at town. And then various other projects that I've been lucky and fortunate to be part of as they arise with different projects that we've worked on. So I'm always learning, as Nabil said, and one of the many things that I love about my job is the fact that I'm constantly learning from everyone that I work with in the community, and sharing what I learn, and also sharing the people who I meet and introducing them to other people. So thank you, Jody, and I'm grateful for our friendship.
Aw, thanks. Me too. It's awesome. This is exciting. You know, when you can wake up and you're guided to do what's next. And so on that note, I'm just going to bring Dennis to go into the conversation, so he doesn't have to stick around if he doesn't want to, but we have to acknowledge him because Nabil, I think this is beautiful because you're I believe in the same kind of, please correct me because I don't know exactly the term or what you studied, but I believe it's in social, maybe psychotherapy, maybe something along those lines. What is it? Help me out.
Yes, no, so I am a registered social worker. So practicing psychotherapy is one of the things that I do in my private practice, not in my role at the town, but in my private practice, I do practice psychotherapy. So we got that connection going on for sure.
Right on. So this is perfect because Dennis Windigo, I'll just do a quick little intro. I met him when I first met Sherry. Sherry and I went on our first business trip together to Wabano is it Wabano? Yes. In Ottawa. Is that where it was? And it was we were really getting to know each other. We took a train and it was great. And, she's the educator and I was, kind of grassroots, right? I'm learning my culture. And so we got on this train, we went to this place, and Dennis was the presenter. And her and I having such different experiences in our life and where we were in the passions, there he was speaking. And we left different people. And you'll understand when you have the opportunity to listen to him speak in 2 weeks. So it'll be the week after mental health. And we've invited Dennis into our community and abroad with all of our other supporters and partners in Southern Ontario, because his messaging is amazing. I call him the master. I don't think he likes that so much because he's so humble, but he is an internationally known Indigenous psychotherapist, and he changes lives instantly. So I think, Nabil, you're going to dig him and his work when he comes forward. But Dennis, if you want to, since you came and you showed up here, did you want to say hi? Or maybe you're going to be with us on Monday the 3rd, to kind of prepare us in what to expect for the week of Mental Health Week. Because again, being guided by grandmothers, they're always thinking ahead, not just because Indigenous people think 7 years ahead, but thinking ahead. How do we prepare our community for all of the information that will be distributed and be surrounding us in the next week? And so if you don't mind, Dennis, you can pop on and maybe tell us how you'll speak to, you have this package, I guess, that you say, prepare your sacred ground. And I loved that. So maybe you can just kind of give us a little tidbit of that before Monday. Oh, wait, I muted you.
Okay, can you hear me now? All right, I'm back. Yeah, thank you for the introduction, and glad to meet everybody here, even the ones that left. And thank you for the accidental invite. But it gives me a little insight into the different things that are going on and what you've shared so far. It's already been very insightful and helpful for me. Now, next week when I do the preparing that sacred ground, it's really about when we are listening to a presentation around trauma and mental health, and the historical trauma, the present day trauma, the ongoing things like pandemic and everything else that it's disrupted. There's a lot of different things going on there for people, but we still need to operate as support, right? Listening to other people's stories and listening to their experiences, but we can listen in a way where we are not getting triggered or re-traumatized ourselves, or being affected vicariously through their experiences, because we may have similar experiences. So it's about this connect and protect, how we can connect with the person and protect from the trauma stories, and know where to put that, how to set it down, and how to stay connected with the person, because what their stories is their stories, and we are made up of stories, and those stories kind of make up who we are and our knowledge today. But the trauma piece of it is where sometimes we could get stuck, and we could get into reliving and re-experiencing it when we're listening to a presentation on residential schools, or child welfare and missing and murdered Indigenous women and girls. It could trigger memories. But I want to give some tools and some ideas in how we can listen to this kind of information and notice what's going on inside the body as we're listening, so that we can be focused in the present, and what we can do to put that information beside us versus inside of us. Because when we put it beside us, we still hold it, we still contain it, but we're holding it in a different way. It's almost like we have this empty pack sack. We're going there to fill up that pack sack with information. But before we even put that information into that pack sack, we're laying it down on the ground first. We're separating each story, each historical experience, and then we see it laying out there, and it gives us a chance to be totally present, to be totally in the moment, to be totally who we are now, or at least in a better way, versus being re-traumatized and being flooded by those stories and experiences that other people share with people. So these are ways to connect to the person and to be that supportive person to them, but yet protecting ourselves at the same time from being affected by people's trauma stories or their stories of injustice, and what they went through, and perhaps what they're still going through, and how it may be because for some there may never be answers that they seek, but we can still listen without being re-traumatized and without going into rescue mode. And then we lay out all those experiences, and then I'm going to show people what we can do with those stories. And do we need to fill up that pack sack with those stories, or do we pick up the tools from each experience, from each story? Because I believe that when we have trauma, there is we have tools. It gives us a gift of something, There's power in that trauma, and that power comes from self. So it's really about listening in this way, so that the listener, and also the one who's being listened to, finds that gift, finds that medicine, instead of being stuck in that, versus being stuck in that trauma and reliving it. And they'll see that they have more power today in the present to take care of themselves around something that may never be resolved, or something that they can resolve. So just a basic thing. And then what I will do is introduce a few exercises, exercises just to have people reflect inside, and to get them to really notice. Like, listening is not just about hearing. Listening it includes spirit. Listening includes your body. Listening includes your organs. So it's to really be mindful of how those stories that we listen to, where we get the trigger, where we feel the hit of what people are sharing. And so it might hit us in the gut, in the intestine, and give us some stomach problems. And so we know we need to have tools to take care of our intestine. What do we do there to be gentle to it, versus reacting to it as if something awful is going to happen again? So just to give some tools like that, because when we are in our healing, people will experience flashbacks. It's not about might, it's about will. They will experience it, not might. And so I always give that message that people will experience flashbacks. And when you do, here are some tools listening to it in different ways, but becoming more aware of yourself. So that's basically it. And then I'm going to have some medicines and some different techniques that I can demonstrate online. And hopefully these are tools people will use as they're listening to more stories around mental health and trauma and addictions and whatever it is, whatever people are listening to. And it'll be helpful to them, not only in the presentations, but in any area in their life when they're confronted with these issues, because they become tools for life, tools for a way of being different when things do not change. So about that.
Chimagwich, amazing. I can't help it. My cheeks are, I just want to smile because I know how much healing you bring. And some people, there's 4 sad emojis here, and I see who's, the people, like, it is sad, but the reality is we have the potential to move into a really big space and time right now, to be able to prepare ourselves to offer healing to each other and community. And so I am so grateful that I accidentally invited you to this meeting and this live, but it's amazing. And I hope, like, Nabil, just give me a nod or something. Like, did you get excited? Get goosebumps a little bit, right? So
Yeah, absolutely. That was fantastic. I think I loved when you talked about we have to listen with our bodies, and we have to listen even with our intestines, right? And I think it's so true. Like, when you think of butterflies in your stomach, I think, that's what you're alluding to, that our mental health doesn't just impact our mind, but even our body. And when you're talking about trauma, which is a very intense form of, our anxieties and our experiences, I think you need the full presence of your body and your mind to ground yourself when sharing stories, and to find those tips and tools that Dennis is going to be sharing. I think it's phenomenal, and I think it's definitely needed.
Aw, thanks. Well, I'm glad you feel that way, because we're inviting the community to, come along and share his workshops, because working with the grandmothers is magical, and there's no other way to explain it, because they when we talk about what we need to do in this moment is really preparing ourselves for, what can we really put into action, and we have to be in action every day, and especially in consciousness is really what I think Dennis talks about, and is we have to be conscious when we're moving through a week like mental health. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Manijo. That it's true. Mental health is real. And our guest yesterday spoke about that. And David Bouchard was on with us. And if we can really set ourselves up to be prepared and to support each other, instead of just it being another loud thing or something happening in social media, let's be present about this. This is what the grandmother said. If we have this platform, grandmother's voice has built up. We had no idea this is what it was going to become. Like, I still haven't even worked out the platform, right? Because we get up and we just do what we're called to do. And so this is what we've been called to do, is to bring Dennis into our communities, because he's usually he's in the front lines every day. He is with the First Nations communities, and working with them to really create that healing for the communities that we in the urban communities are always so concerned about. How can we help them? What can we do? And so to bring Dennis forward is what the grandmother said that we needed to do. We needed to bring his voice forward, so that collectively we can all work on healing, so that we can really support those communities in the rural communities and the people in our own communities to work on that collective healing. And so I'm so grateful for this opportunity, for this platform, for Speak Up and Empower, who continues to support us in any way that she can. Karen, I'm thinking about you today. And again, our community members like the Town of Oakville, who continue to make this space and make these opportunities a reality for us, to bring our Indigenous community together. So there's a lot of things going on here. Tomorrow we have Norma Jacobs that's showing up. I don't know if any of you do not know her. Please show up. She's an amazing elder grandmother that's been all over Canada. I mean, these women have been holding space, just like the men, holding space for our culture to come alive and come above ground. And we're really in this time, and these elders that are alive get to actually see what they've sacrificed and what they've protected for so long come to really help people. So love everyone for showing up today. Thank you for everyone that's here. Thank you for all of Mother Earth's energies and nature that adds to the gifts we have in our life. And we'll see you tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow evening with the Town of Oakville's crew. Thank you.